So welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom and time for another Rambles of a Fool. So I'm going to take a look at what to expect, what's coming in the world of tanks in the next few weeks and months. So a couple of interesting things. An even more OP Russian heavy tank, would you believe? Although we'll see what the impact of this thing is for real. Also going to be taking a look at the new patch which is due in next week and some of the changes that are coming there to maps and also to vehicles, and also some other map changes that are in Supertest right now, and some changes to some of the premiums that are already announced. So anyway, without further ado, so Wargaming continue to look at tweaks and adaptations to various maps in the game at the moment. So mines and glaciers are the next ones to get a look in on the Supertest at the moment. So mines currently favours teams spawning in the north. They can reach the island in the west faster and often come to control the western flank entirely by moving to the central hill positions from the island. To offset the advantage, we're adding multiple firing positions to the southern side. So yeah, I mean, this, because there's no slowdown really, you just rush straight here. You can get this island really quickly and then progress down this way. You see enemy tanks often coming all the way down here, and you never see enemy attacking tanks coming from this spawn getting to this area until very much later in the game. The smaller island in the southwest will have several nice spots to dig in and contain the northern aggression. So that's around this bit here. You'll be able to shoot the enemy sitting on the larger island from designated tank positions on the southern side. The same trick will be possible if you get on the slope leading to the top of the central hill, providing fire support for allies and prevent enemies taking the control of the west flank. So that's here, I guess, is what they're talking about. So you can see this is this is more positions here. You can see these sort of rocks here are providing firing points up onto there, which is kind of cool. And here again, more positions that allow you to put fire support. Now that looks to me that you're just giving a bit of a camper's charter there, but we'll see how that plays out. Here we go, some of the shots from the hill across to here. This looks much flatter and much more open. I do wonder whether this is going to, if these changes happen, it will make this island almost unplayable. On Glacier map, the southern side now has an edge. The team has less trouble fighting around the frozen aircraft carrier. They have better TD positions. On top of that, the northern team has problems defending the Serpentine Road on the northeast. To set everything right, we'll try several changes to this map. Both teams will have equal opportunities to roll onto the carrier, and the northerners may try to dash to a small cover on the flight deck. The team that manages to take control of the area will be able to capitalise on success by new covering positions. Okay. And the aircraft carrier is definitely, if you've got fast moving light tanks or even fast moving TDs, if they're very quick, getting up on this this thing is an absolute biatch for the other team. So it is really important, this position, so that's good. The firing arc for the southern team TDs in position G4 is too wide, therefore it will be limited on the modified map, and small ridges enabling terrain-based play will be added to the Serpentine Road. Okay, so this is the entrance to the getting up onto the aircraft carrier. And it definitely is easier for this team from the north to get up here. So if they balance that out, that's a good thing. More rocks here, which gives more protection to both sides actually, which is great. And here we go. This is the changes to the Serpentine Road. It's, you know, again, I like the fact they're you know, continuing to look at the maps and see what they're going to do. Depending on the results, we'll decide whether to keep or ditch each of the changes. Our objective is to balance the team's chances to win while keeping how gameplay unfolds on the maps in different situations. So good. I mean, I think any amendments to maps is always a good thing for me if it helps and encourages balanced play, frankly. Okay, so the new patch is ready to go. Apparently they've super tested it twice now, or common tested it twice now, and patch 1.0.2 is ready to go. They are saying here on the Armored Patrol that the Russian server will get it on Monday night, so between the 11th and the 12th of June, and expect EU and North America to get it the day later, so that would be the Tuesday night. So that's unusual. We usually get on a Thursday. Tuesday night would be the 12th, wouldn't that? So that's what they're expecting, and Asia will get it a week later. There you go. Blimey, boys, in Asia, you'll get it quicker than you were expecting. So what to expect on this new patch? Well, so there'll be 4 changes to common maps in the game, or 4 maps changed that are in the common game. So Malinovka is one of those. They're all tweaks more than anything else. So the spawn points of both teams have been relocated. Previously, one team had to travel further to reach key locations, so they're balancing that out much. Spawning light tanks are assigned to the front, which will simplify their departure and operation at the beginning of the battle. Well, how that's going to work? I mean, they're just going to camp at the back, aren't they? Anyway, or whatever. The bushes on the balcony. What's that? I guess that's these hilly bits around here, isn't it? Where are we? Maps here. They're calling this the balcony here and here. Have been closer to the edge of the cliff, and the terrain in this area has been slightly modified. View radius from this position is better now. The church has been rotated, so that's the church at the top of the hill here, has been rotated so that it's more beneficial for the north spawning team to take the church, and this position will have added effectiveness during the course of the battle. From this position you'll be able to shoot at the swamp and defend it from the enemy in the hill. Also, behind the church some of the terrain has been lowered. Okay, interesting. Revising the density and number of bushes on the swamp for both sides, so that's good. And added a small ledge at the slope of F7 to provide greater opportunities for the north spawning team. Where's F7? It's going to be around here. Around here somewhere, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, there you go. Fjords, a bit more refinement of fjords. And obviously that one had a major rework in the last patch or so. Added shelter from tank destroyers firing from the lower base. Now tanks passing through the zone will be less vulnerable. So where is that? Does that mean down here somewhere? Must be. Okay, well, I'm not sure. Changing the terrain on the outcrops from the ravine, allowing safer play from the tower and strengthening the position of the west spawning team. So this is this area here, I believe. So I think one of the challenges currently with this map is that the team coming from this direction has a much easier time of getting onto this hillside than the team coming that side. So it sounds like they're trying to balance that out a bit. Adding an indestructible house to the tank destroyer position, which allows you to hide from enemy fire. No indication where that is, I don't know, to be absolutely. Added an alternative route to the lower part of the hill, allowing attackers to reach the base more safely. So again, I think this is around this area again, just to allow this a much more even fight. What tends to happen at the moment with this new map, or the way it's been amended, is that, in my experience, that somebody grabs a hill and that basically makes the other side grind to a complete stop. It's really hard to take that until somebody on the hill makes a mistake. So if you're coming from this cap and the enemy team have got this hill, it's almost impossible to move apart from up around the north side here. And similarly, if you're coming from this side, trying to get past anything, you know, anybody up here can see what you're doing up round here. They can also see what you're doing down here, and that's kind of a little bit annoying, really. Also, here we go. We're looking at some of the changes. Where are they? Oh, it's difficult to tell. Well, I can't actually see any differences there, but hey, there must be, because they say there is, so that's true. Erlenburg, one of the maps. I don't know really what they've done. I mean, it's better than it was, I think, but I think it's playing better now. People are getting used to it, but I still have a hankering after the old Erlenberg. Minor improvements made to the ability to attack and rebalance the map. Changing the geometry of the castle wall. Now defenders near the castle will be more vulnerable to the attackers on the island at E1 and those in the city. So that's here. E1 must be up. Oh, here. So anything sitting over here on this island will have a better chance of shooting up at anything here. Okay. Added houses to create additional cover position. This will also simplify the attack along 1 and 0 lines. So can't quite see where they are. Is that here? Maybe that's here and out this side. Don't know. Added trees and buildings to better cover the tanks and the city from fire and spotting from the flanks. Now, actually, I don't necessarily think this is a good thing, because part of the problem with this, all this built-up area in here, is that anything gets in there, there's very few gaps to allow you to shoot into them. So if your team's a bit light on heavies, or your heavies are absolute crap and die, you kind of have to wait until they break cover and try and get towards the cap, which is pretty late in the day, and having a few more flank shots around there would have been better. But hey, I guess it's making it more playable for the heavy tanks, so that's got to be right. The area has been redesigned to correspond more closely to a similar place on the opposite corner of the map. Don't know what that means. Bit more mirroring, I guess. Anyway, Mountain Pass. I hate Mountain Pass. It's a god-awful map. They show these changes, and I can't actually. My eyes don't actually show me any changes on these maps. There are more convenient zones for the player from the top of the map without impacting the usual positions of the team spawning in the south. We did this to fix the imbalance on the map, which favours the south spawning team. Okay, good. Anything that balances things out is good for me. So it looks like. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what they're doing, what they've done changed. I mean, this is the area you're coming down from the southern cap, but that doesn't actually look any different here. Oh, maybe this, do they mean this position here? Yeah, it does look like that could be what they mean. Oh no, that's there already. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Whatever it is, they're making a few tweaks to that map. I have to say, I played a few games on the test server, and I didn't notice any real difference with the maps, but maybe I'm just old and stupid. Don't answer that, please. So other changes we can expect with the new patch are to the Object 430 version 2, improvements to its dispersion, basically a bit of love for this tank. It's not really been performing quite as well as they'd like, so better dispersion, better aim time, better view range, decreases in armor of the hull and turrets, which is interesting, and the durability of the hull, the turret has been reduced as well, so yeah, interesting. There were some changes made to the K91, which is the follow-up tier 10 medium Russian tank, the new one to the game, basically to buff it a bit because it wasn't performing terribly well on the test server, which is good. So increased to its reload speed, increased engine power. Gun depression is terrible because it's got a rear mounted turret. It was only -5, but now it's giving it -9 if you use the sides of the vehicle, so that's good. The Object 277 changed the arrangements of internal modules, ammo rack and fuel tanks. I don't think that will have a huge impact on that vehicle, but that's some of the little tweaks that are coming in the new patch, along with those tweaks to the maps. So we talked about this upcoming British medium tank that was in Supertest, the Chimera, called Chimera, whatever they're going to call it. Chimera. Anyway, a tier 8 British medium tank. Has a massive gun on it. It's a really nice looking beastie, but they've toned it down a bit. It was obviously too good, and they've now reduced it slightly. So what have they nerfed? Oh, here we go. Sorry. They've reduced the damage per shot by 50. so it's now 440 instead of 490. Reload time has increased by 1 second. Rate of fire therefore has dropped by 0.33, and damage per minute has gone down by 367, so it's only 1800 now. What else has changed? Aim time has got worse as well to 2.78, which is still not that bad. Aiming circle spread has got worse after movement and turret movement. Turret speed's got slower. Chassis speed's got slower. Mobility wise, engine power's dropped by 140 horsepower, so that dropped its power ratio by 2.4, so it's now only just shy of 16, which isn't great. Top speed's still 50, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, it's a little, I mean, it did look too good to be true, this medium tank, especially because they love just kicking the British tanks anyway, so maybe this is a bit more balanced, but then does it really give you anything that's different to any of the British tanks already out there? I don't think so. I'd like to see a proper sort of lightweight premium TD, British TD. That would be fun, because we've got the AT-15A, but really that's not up to scratch. Sorry, Black Wolf, I know you love your AT, but we could do with something that's, you could train up your other turreted tank destroyers on the British line, if anything. Another medium, not really needed, in my book anyway. So as many of us suspected, the football mode is going to be returning towards the end of June, which I guess coincides with a certain worldwide football event, the World Cup. So this was, if you remember rightly, it was was it the European Championships 2 years ago? I forget now, but you'll see all the videos up online. Loads of people put them. So that was a 3v3 football game. So you drove around, especially special tanks, and kicked a big sort of, or banged a big football around to try and score goals as a team. You could shoot at the ball. You could shoot at the enemy team to track them and hold them in place while you whizzed around them. It was actually terrific fun. Really enjoyed it. So there is a new version coming back for the World Cup. No idea exactly when this will happen, but yeah, it's going to be good. I think the football mode was always a great fun. Some of these sort of mini games they bring out have not been particularly awesome, but the football was one of the ones that I actually enjoyed the most, which is odd because I'm not really into football, so hey, go figure. So welcome to the latest Russian OP heavy tank, coming to the game soon. Or is it? So this is the Object 279, called the Warrior of the Apocalypse. Now this was a tank that actually does exist. It was built to withstand nuclear attack, would you believe? That was what it was done for. Now I find this one amazing. So before you all get excited, they are saying this is not coming into the game. They were just joshing around, used as a closed internal test, and not planning to be released into the game. So part of me thinks, well, yeah, it must be true that, because this would break the model. It would be a tier 10 heavy tank, Russian, obviously, because Russian are the best, and it's virtually impregnable from front and the sides. The only weak spot is a very, very small area at the rear. Just talk about breaking the game if they brought this thing in. I mean, hull armor 310, 214 and 100, and look how, you know, this is it's a UFO. Turret armor 305, 217 and 90. Firepower, has a very nice gun. What is the penetration? Here we go. Penetration 313 and 390 with skill rounds, 490 average damage, 959 reload speed, rate of fire 6.2, giving it 3000 DPM already. Accuracy of 0.33 is brilliant. Aim time of 1.44. I mean, it's like they've just built a super tank just to see what they can you know, what they can actually manage to build that would break everything. 1000 hit points. No, that's the engine. 55 top speed, 16 power ratio. That's one of the few negatives on this thing. It's just ridiculous. 400 view range, concealment 10%, But they are saying this will never appear. But then, you know, they said the Mutant would never be sold again. They said the E25 would never be sold again. So, you know, we'll see. But if they do, I give notice now. I am giving up the game. So it's now, oh crikey, 2 weeks plus since the latest wargaming debacle around preferential matchmaking. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. There's been quite enough expended about this, and yet more community contributors have quit because of it, and blah 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 blah. Anyway, just thought I'd get an update really. So this is the EU forum. 173 pages of comments on this original posting about preferential matchmaking, and I haven't. It's true. I haven't read every single one of them, but I would indicate at least 99%, possibly every single one of the 173 pages is negative about this. The negative feeling continues to grow and grow and grow, and still absolutely no response from Wargaming at all, and they still continue to sell preferential matchmaking tanks in the garage because complete wankers that they are. But I did say a couple of interesting things which I thought was worth discussing, or at least bringing up on this on this video. Was around I've talked about him before now. 4 Tankers and a Dog, who the American YouTuber and streamer, does absolutely brilliant. He's a fantastic player, but he's also got a mind like a Stephen Hawkins or someone like that. He just has that sort of analytical brain that's phenomenal. He did a video talking about preferential matchmaking, went into all kinds of calculations. Bottom line was, his suggestion was that the preferential the matchmaking went to a 5-5-5 system, so 5 top tiers, 5 middle tiers, 5 bottom tiers. That statistically that took the biggest weight off the tech trees, so that basically the chances of this alleged problem with too many preferential matchmaking is putting too much pressure on tier 9s and all that sort of bullshit would go away. We all know it's bullshit, but you know, it was an interesting academic argument anyway to go 5-5-5. I'm not sure I like that idea myself, because 5 top tier heavies, a bit devastating. Anyway, that was one suggestion I saw, worth discussing in the chat down below whether you think that's a good one. The other one I saw, which I think it was attributed to Safosh or Circon, I forget which one, which was to change the priority. So at the moment the matchmaker priority is 3-5-7, so that's the ideal, the Nevada they are looking for. So 3 top tiers, 5 middle tiers, 7 bottom tiers, and then if they can't fill that, they go all the same tier. If they can't do that, they do a 5-10 game. That's how it works out. And his suggestion was to turn it on its head, make the 5-10 game the standard, so that 9 times out of 10 you're at least fighting your same, you know, statistically you're going to be fighting against your own tier or be top tier more often than not in that sort of scenario. And you know, that has some merit to it. And in that scenario, the preferential matchmaking tanks could stay exactly as they are, preferential matchmaking. You might have to give them a little bit of a buff, because some of them are not really capable of dealing with their same tier 5 tiers. You know, a KV5 up as it stands at the moment, going up against a Defender, it's not going to go well for the KV5. So it might need a bit of a pen buff. But even so, that I think was a really good suggestion, and I liked that one. The other one somebody pointed out, I can't remember who it was now, again I should have made a note of it, but around, this is only the solution for KV5. What happens when you start rolling this down the line? What about an E25? E25 at the moment although its gun is not particularly great in terms of pen or alpha, it makes up for it in the fact it rattles the shots off like crazy. So it can compete when it is, you know, middle tier or bottom tier. But it absolutely devastates other tanks at lower tier. So how are you going to balance that thing out? You know, on the basis of what they're talking about with the KV5, they're talking about increasing pen, increasing damage, and increasing armor. And you do that to the E25. Whoa, what does that do to tier 5 and tier 6s? when they come up against the E25. I mean, just what a mess. Again, I just think Wargaming have shot themselves well and truly in the foot, and the amount of bad will they have generated through this latest complete fuck up is just extraordinary. Myself, I'm thinking long and hard about whether I ever spend any more money on this game until things are resolved, and I have spent a huge amount of money over the years on this game, but I'm not going to anymore. So when my premium time runs out, I won't renew it. I'm not going to buy any more of the upcoming premiums, despite the fact I'm kind of drawn to a couple of them. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to spend any more money until they sort this mess out. But you know, that's my personal feeling. And who knows? I don't know how long I'll be able to keep that up, because I am a bit addicted to this game. But we'll see. But at the moment, I've actually had a few days off playing it as well. I even loaded up War Thunder the other day, because somebody in the chat was talking about it, and I thought I've never ever even loaded the game. So I started. I haven't played a game yet, but I will do when I get a chance. So yeah, I still love World of Tanks. I think it's a great game, but what they've done to the community, what they are doing to us in terms of just milking us like some kind of bitch, is just disgraceful, and I don't want anything to do with it. So I'll continue trying to play it as a free to play. That'll be it. I know it will be difficult at times, but that's what I'm going to do. And similarly, I'm going to try out some other games. So watch this space. You may actually see a War Thunder video appear on the channel, if I enjoy it and if I think it's going to be interesting to cover. So anyway, let me know what you think about preferential matchmaking again. I know you all did last time, but what about the suggestion of a 5-5-5 matchmaker or a 5-10 matchmaker? So a lot of excitement on Reddit and various other forums about some of the proposed, or not proposed, they are going to happen, change of conditions that you sign up to when you have a Wargaming North America account. So this doesn't matter whether it's World of Tanks, World of Warships, World of Aircraft, Arena, whatever the Ancient Battles thing is. All of those are being changed with this new blanket terms and conditions. I think they're due out on the 14th of June, somewhere around that. And to be honest, most of the people are getting very het up about absolutely nothing. Now, I ain't no legal expert, but you know, the suggestion is that you don't own anything, blah de blah de blah. If you check all of the T's and C's on pretty much every game you have, you don't own it, because you don't, do you? You have you're effectively renting, leasing the use of the game. You're not actually buying it. The days where you used to get floppy disks and CDs with the entire game on them were when you last bought them. Nowadays you just download it and you are allowed to use it effectively like a license. So you know, really some of the fuss that people are making about all of my premiums that I've bought, they're all mine. Bullshit. They're not at all. They're always Wargaming's and never will change. So, but the bit that concerns me slightly, there is a change around the fact that they have the right to cancel, to eliminate your account if you, here you go, post material that is disparaging, illegal, or infringes on the rights of a third party, or damages the reputation of Wargaming or any of the games. So illegal, yeah, understand that. Infringes, yeah, understand that. Disparaging. Okay, so let's look at that. Disparaging. Does that mean that they are going to not allow any kind of dissent? How dare you criticize them for the complete fuck up they made with KV5 or any other number of insert fuck ups here that Wargaming have gone through? So does that mean if you are a blogger or write something on the Facebook page or what have you, a fan site, you could have your account banned and removed forever? No right of reply because you've signed up, you've ticked the box at the end of these things, which nobody ever reads, these T's and C's, but this one absolutely you should do. Frankly, I just find that extraordinary, and it doesn't affect me because I'm not North American. I play on the EU server, but you know, it's a worrying trend, right? Disparaging comments. So if you'd criticise Wargaming for their money-grabbing attitude, for being money-grabbing bastards, for instance, that would have got my site banned, my account banned, actually. If I criticise them for producing ridiculously OP tanks, I could get banned for that. If I criticise them for producing really shit tanks, that could be infringing on their rights, and therefore get me about my account banned. And this is just ridiculous. The other thing I think is, I've talked about this before, and I know lots of other observers have as well, is that, you know, why does each company have different, does each region have different T's and C's? Why do they run them so flipping differently? It's one game. Now China, I understand, because that's a completely separate company that bought the rights to use the game, and they had the rights to do whatever the hell they like. I mean, they're Chinese, so they can do whatever the hell they like anyway. But North America, EU, Russia are all run by Wargaming. It's just branches of Wargaming. Now they should have the same friggin' T's and C's, they should have the same rights. They should actually friggin' talk to each other from time to time. That would also help, but they don't. So you know, we'll have to watch this space, see what this means for you guys in North America, but watch yourself. If you dare to criticise Wargaming for anything they're doing stupid or otherwise in the game, under these terms and conditions, you could have your account banned, and there is no right of redress. Well, that is it, final. Now, the cynical of me would suggest that maybe this is to stop any kind of legal action there might be around changes to premium tanks, for instance, maybe, possibly. But, of course, I wouldn't possibly want to do that, because it might be fucking disparaging Wargaming. Okay, so after I recorded that section, a sort of response went up from Cabbage Mechanic, who's one of the senior community managers, presumably in North America, but in response to all the stories that have been winging around about this issue. And yeah, it's good on them for finally getting up and talking about these things. They haven't talked about the KV5 incident, but they're talking about this one. So he's saying here, it's unfortunate there's been very poor reporting being done, because this section of the EULA is not new and will not change how we treat anybody. And he's provided a link to the 2015 language, which has basically the same thing. Regarding the Sir Foch incident, so this is what we're talking about, that there was a suggestion by somebody in North America that they were going to place a copyright strike on Sir Foch for his outspoken criticism of Wargaming via for the Chrysler. It was a Chrysler tank, wasn't it? And he's Cabbage Mechanic again is saying it has never been and will never be our policy to make copyright strikes against any content creators, and we have directly apologized for one of our staff making the implication. The section of the EULA currently being discussed is aimed specifically at giving us properly codified recourse against fan site inverted commas who use World of Tanks logo or other things alongside other content which we might find objectionable. For example, to use examples that have actually happened: neo-Nazi propaganda and pornography. We have not and will continue to not take any such actions against legitimate fan sites who happen to criticise Wargaming. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to take that on its merits. To anybody who thinks we make a habit of exercising censorship of critical viewpoints, I encourage you to spend literally any time at all on the general discussion forum. We remove and sanction posts that violate forum rules, mainly inappropriate language, incitement of harassment, and people who wear socks with sandals. Bit of humour, good. But critical opinions are fair game. As always, appreciate your feedback. Oops, dropped my phone. And we hope to see you on the battlefield. So good, I mean, good on him for coming out and talking about this. I'm not entirely sure I quite believe the whole thing, but hey, you know, you can only take it on its merit. And he is saying that nothing will change. So let's hope he's right. Nothing will change. It's fake news. Okay, so we're getting early views of what the Polish heavy tanks are going to be like when they come to the tech tree. Expected later this year. Some commentators I've seen suggested October as the likely arrival time of the Polish tech tree. These are the first two going through Supertest at the moment, the Tier 9 and the Tier 10. I'm not even going to try and pronounce these names. So yeah, 50 TP and the 60 TP. And they're suggesting here, this is Daily Bounce, suggesting that all Polish tanks are going to have lots of armour, be slow moving with big alpha guns, but pretty low pen. I'm not sure how that will work out, but hey, each their own. So this is the Tier 9, the 50 TP, 2000 hit points, hull armour 120, 90, 60, turret is 210, 160, 100. We don't look particularly special armour wise. Only a 600 horsepower engine, turret traverse of 26 degrees per second, hull traverse of 26 degrees per second, so nothing special there. 380 view range, top speed of only 35, power ratio of 12 is horrible. Penetration with the gun 250, 303 and 68. Bear in mind that's got to go up against Tier 10s most often. 250 is not really very good at all, but a nice 560 average damage, 700 with HE. 0.4 dispersion is pretty yucky, and 2.7 aim time is likewise not the best in the world. Only -8 gun depression as well. So let's say the 50 TP is not fast but well armoured in all places, with an alpha that's expected from a heavy tank. Its 130 millimeter gun will deal around 560 average damage. Something different in uniqueness to the Polish tanks. Well, whatever. Yeah, a bit underwhelming, frankly. I think this is the Tier 10, the 60 TP. 2,600 hit points is nice. 160, 190 on the hull armor. 250, 170, 110 for the turret. It looks very rounded, the turret, but that doesn't seem an awful lot of armor. 780 engine, giving 24 degrees of per second traverse and turret traverse speed. 390 view range, 35 top speed, only 13 power ratio is horrible. 250 penetration again, really? 317 with premium, 90 with HE. Nice 750 average damage, 1100 with the HE shell. 0.38 dispersion is nice, 3 aim time is not so good, and -8 gun depression. Poof, I don't know, that just seems like that's a gold spammer waiting to happen myself. They're looking at, so that, I think that's 130 millimeter. They're also looking at 152 millimeter version, so we'll see what they come up with. But as they're saying here, the drawbacks are mediocre penetration and limited mobility. It's compact, super heavy, pushing through the enemy lines thanks to its ability to block lots of damage, and its high alpha. Well, that armor doesn't look fantastic unless there's lots of spaced armor and anglings that we're not seeing. But hey, well, I don't know, interesting. Not particularly, it doesn't exactly get me excited. The Tier 8 premium makes me very happy. I like the look of that completely, but this bit lackluster really, if I'm honest. But let me know what you think down below. So I hope you found that useful and interesting. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. In the meantime, enjoy your games, have fun, try not to take it too seriously, and I'll see you again soon. This is GamerDom signing off.